Coming. And I'm here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome to the Quest Show. I am your host, Lana Quest, and this is my co-host.
Honored to be here. Honored to be welcoming a guest tonight.
Yes, we have a guest in the virtual building here. We have Marsha Williams out of Illinois, District 17. We are going to get into our discussion with Marsha in just one moment. We're going to, per usual, ask you all to please like, share, subscribe, please, so that you never miss a video. Happy St. Patty's Day out there to everyone. I just found out it is 2 D's and not 2 T's. I didn't know that. Never knew that. But I'm excited about that. So thank you, everyone. I am going to turn it over to Marsha. She is going to tell us how she got into politics, how she got here. How'd you get here?
Well, it was a slow increase of a series of unfortunate events that kind of led me up to this. I've always been an activist for women's rights, for rights for different minorities, LGBTQ. I've always been the activist and always held women's marches, BLM marches, pride events, things like that, ever since I was a child. And my parents weren't very political, but for some reason I got really involved at a young age. I remember I was second grade and it was like the presidential election, and I started asking questions, and then a lot of the whys driving my parents crazy. And then eventually, and when I was a teenager, I actually had a friend, her dad was on the county board, and he actually answered a lot of questions for me about politics. And then the last couple of years, I just basically said, you know what, I just need to do something. I need to do something a little bit more than what my current activism is. And that's actually bringing an everyday working person into Congress so we can be able to propose and pass legislation that actually benefits the regular everyday person, not for the wealthy few.
Right. Yep. Totally agree. I totally agree. Thank you.
So you are representing or running to represent Illinois District 17. What part of Illinois does that cover?
That's the top western part of the state of Illinois. So it covers the southern border of Wisconsin, and then wraps around the Iowa border, and then ends in central Illinois. It covers 14 counties.
Wow.
So if anybody's familiar with Illinois, it starts up by Rockford and then ends down by Bloomington Normal. So it kind of just wraps around the state and kind of ends up in the middle of central Illinois.
Okay. Wow. Now, I know some of your platform included like reproductive rights and unions and things like that. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what's most important for you and the changes that you want to bring to Congress?
So a little bit of a personal story for me, and that actually, this is on Monday was the anniversary of my son's stillbirth. I was 38 weeks pregnant, and I had a pregnancy that failed, and I had to beg for my life. And I never ever thought that if I had a pregnancy that failed, that I would be denied medical treatment, and actually had to go through the experience that I had. And over the 15 years of me grieving my son and trying to figure out the why, one day I got down an internet hole like a lot of people do when they're doing research. And I found out that our country has a really high maternal mortality rate because there are states that are denying women access to health care when they have a pregnancy had failed because there's a law imposing them. So recently I found out in Missouri, they were trying to criminalize ectopic pregnancies, giving a woman a choice to either die or go to prison. And no woman should have to be in a situation when medical intervention can be able to save her life. And have somebody, a stranger, say no because it goes against my beliefs.
Right.
And women, Black women have it 3 times worse than that, and than white women, and indigenous women have it 4 times as worse as than Black women. And that is a concern for me.
Right.
When the Texas passed their anti-choice bill in September, their maternal mortality, I actually have the numbers here. I posted it this morning on my Twitter. It went from, I think, like 18. It went from 18 out of 100,000 births to 85.3 out of 100,000 births, because now women are denied health care when their pregnancy had failed. And that's only in the last 3 months of the year, because the Texas abortion ban went into effect on September 1st, 2021. Now we have, if it's valid for a whole full year, I bet you we're going to see that in the 200 to 300s per 100,000 births. So that is 10 to 20% of what maternal deaths are going to be going to happen out of the state of Texas.
I was going to say, you're right, just in
That's
Texas,
just the state of Texas.
because I looked up again the numbers as well, because I was kind of curious about it, and it's like approximately 700 women die in the U.S. a year. 700 in a year. Texas is like carrying a lot of those women. Like, that's unbelievable. 1/3 occurred during pregnancy, and then over half during labor. That's really those are unbelievable. It's 2022.
Yes.
Like, how is this happening right now?
Well, you say that. I'm sorry, Marsha, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to go back to this heinous thought that an ectopic pregnancy is somehow a criminal act. I mean, that is something that is completely biological. We don't know what's happening.
Right.
And it seems like my constitutional right to live, because that is a life-threatening condition, should overshadow you saying I can't have this procedure. I don't even begin to understand how they reconcile that.
Right.
Well, I laugh because he said the legislator who proposed this bill said it was because of his Christian faith. But I went to Catholic school. I know that I went to Catholic school for 8 years, so I had a religious education. And the Book of Numbers even specifically states how to perform an abortion.
Okay.
Including the recipe to how to make the bitter water that was used.
Right. Right.
So he can't say it's his Christian faith because he didn't obviously read the Bible that he proclaims that he follows.
Any of them? Do they ever?
No.
Do any of them? And let's not let DeSantis off the hook. Let's talk about him too, because he's out there talking about no abortions even during rape. But they're all talking about that, right? Like, it's not even just DeSantis. Like, that's just what they want to write in these bills. It doesn't matter. If you have a miscarriage, they want you to go to jail too. Isn't there a woman in jail now?
Yeah, a woman from Oklahoma had a miscarriage at 22 weeks and had a life sentence for homicide. But the thing is that miscarriages and stillbirths are called spontaneous abortions because the medical terminology of an abortion is determination of a pregnancy when a live birth is not present. If you go and Google spontaneous abortions, miscarriages and stillbirths is going to come up.
Right.
And when a woman has a miscarriage and then a woman has an elective abortion, you can't tell the difference from the afterbirth.
Right.
So what's going to happen is a woman gets pregnant and she has a miscarriage and someone doesn't like her. They can easily say, oh, well, she had an elective abortion. And next thing you know, she's in prison.
Right.
Because she had a pregnancy that failed. And I tell you, I'm fighting this to my very last breath. I will not go down without kicking and screaming. Brian Hughes was the writer of the Texas abortion bill. And I'm the reason why his legislative manager quit.
Good for you. And you know what? And thank you for bringing attention to even the Missouri bill, because we already know that SCOTUS is, we think, poised to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Right.
But it's these smaller fights going on at the state level that we really, I mean, we're aware of some, Texas, Florida, but Missouri, just little things like that. Like we really have to be aware that they are just trying to attack it from so many different sides. And speaking of, you spoke on, LGBTQ and pride. That is another issue where they are just attacking from all sides.
Yeah.
I call the Marsha mind your rule, which is mind your business. And that's what they need to do is mind their business and let people live their lives.
Right.
Including people who are LGBTQ. My one of my best friends is a gay man. My niece is lesbian. And I have one of my son's got many godmothers is a transgendered woman. And so we have to teach our children from early age that we need to accept people for who they are as a human being. Then what they identify as if they're LGBTQ, if they're a different race, they're a different religion, we have to judge that person based on who they are.
Right.
And the fact that they're attacking, especially in Texas, the trans kids, that's just absolutely shameful. And this is not pro-life. This is harming kids,
right,
who really in this point in time need support from their community,
right,
because they're trying to figure out who they are as a person. And when there's people pointing fingers and judging them, that's not going to help anything. LGBTQ teens have a higher rate of suicide than cisgendered straight teens.
Right.
That's because of the judgment.
Right. Because it's opening them up to bullying. That's what's going to happen. They're going to stop bullying. And these kids are saying it too. They're saying that you're opening us up to bullying.
Yes.
They don't, you know why they don't care? Because Republicans are bullies. Like, what do they care?
Yeah.
they don't care. So Illinois, I read that they passed, or you have passed in Illinois, the Safety, Accountability, Fairness, and Equity Act, also known as Safety Act, which ends the use of cash bail, puts stricter limits on police use of force, and allows judges to override sentencing minimums in some cases. That's a good policy to pass. But my question is, how do you implement it? How do you make people accountable for it? Because it's one thing to pass something, but now we have to implement it.
Well, the good thing is that they're setting up a committee where they can be able to now, have an independent commission, investigate cases of police brutality, because often before it was usually done by the state's attorney, and the state's attorney and the police, they work hand in hand.
Right.
So a lot of times things went under the rug. There was a woman named Samantha Harrer in Shanahan, Illinois, who was shot point blank by her police officer boyfriend 3 years ago, and he still has not been arrested. But we've been putting a lot of pressure on the two police departments that were involved to be able to make this, to arrest this man, because he killed a person in cold blood, and evidence points directly to it. He had gunshot residue on his body, and she did not. It was, we need to make sure that they're being held accountable. And good thing this independent commission is going to start doing that. It got implemented earlier, like it hasn't been in effect for a full year yet.
Right.
So we're going to kind of see what the long-term effects are, but right now it's too early to tell.
Right.
You mentioned that the independent committee, and that's good. I was talking to Lana about that. I know here I'm in Baltimore and we're under consent decree, but we're a whole nother story. They are required to have a civilian review board. will your independent committee consist of civilians? Like who are they looking at to kind of make up that committee? Because like you said, policemen and state's
Right.
attorneys cannot
Hand in
police each
hand.
other or
Right.
themselves. That
Right.
that's got us to our current state of affairs.
It's still too early to really kind of tell how they're developing that, because it just, I believe got implemented a couple months ago.
Okay.
So how they are doing that is I really haven't looked that far into it.
So let's talk about climate change.
Okay.
Illinois, your floods are becoming more frequent as everywhere else that has flooding. The ice cover on the Great Lakes is forming later or melting sooner, like either or, there's no in between anymore. In the coming decades, Illinois is set to have extremely hotter days, which harm public health and in particular health of people of color in those urban areas. What is your plan to combat this climate crisis?
Well, if I'm elected, day one, what I'm doing to propose is tax rebates or tax refunds for families who want to switch their home to solar or who want to purchase an electric vehicle, because we're really heavily reliant on fossil fuels. And that is one of the main reasons why we're having this climate issue, because the earth needs fossil fuels too. And if that makes sense, it's kind of its blood. So that's going to encourage more families to be able to invest into renewable energy sources for their homes and for a mode of transportation. For example, like we have a home that we purchased in August, and we are going to plan to switch to solar. And from doing my personal research, we should see a reduction on our utilities by 60%. So it's going to pay for itself. And if we get a tax incentive, that's going to get more people to want to do it, because then people are kind of on the fence about it. Then this is going to kind of give them a little bit more of a reason to do it. And then we need to, I want to do the Green New Deal, which will, transform ours to renewable energy over a period between 10 to 20 years. And so we can be able to be completely off of fossil fuels and be under complete 100% renewable energy sources. And the good thing about this is it's going to actually also replace old water systems, like what we saw in Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is one example of many what many towns experience, because they have these old lead pipes that then needs to be replaced. And if there's a city or a village or a little small town that has a population of like 2,000 to 3,000 people, they're not generating enough money in property taxes to be able to replace that. So they need assistance from the federal government to be able to do that.
I don't think that's something that I knew. When you live in urban areas or where there's, municipal water, you don't really think about the smaller urban areas not even having, smaller rural areas, not even having the funds to be able to replace the water lines and things like that. And just thinking about the solar panels, can you imagine if Texas was a proponent of that, because they get plenty of sun down there, then maybe the failures that they had with the electrical grid may not have happened, because they wouldn't have been so, reliant on that, for their energy. There's a lot that can be done with solar and wind and other forms of renewable energy that we really do need to look into. And this war with Russia has kind of shown us more than ever that we need to get off of fossil fuels. We need to get off of that dependency.
Right. But how do we bring that information? Because a lot of this is access of information, right? So we're talking about urban people and people of color. You're talking about, Black and brown community, indigenous, and you're talking about solar panels. They're looking at you like, what? Right? And a lot of them aren't even living in houses or homes. They're living in apartment buildings. So when there are heat waves in those apartment buildings, there's no way for them to cool off, because it's brick inside, it's brick outside. So how do we take care of those people as well, or give them some type of access to information to help them?
So that would kind of, if somebody's renting, that's going to be pretty much on the landlord to want to be able to switch to the renewable energy. But again, if they're owning that property and they switch to solar panels, then they're going to see a return on their taxes, and then that's going to have the reduction in the utilities. So we're in District 17, we're a mix between urban and rural.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have a very diverse community in all different parts of the district. So, yeah, there's ways that there's parts in Chicago who actually had in the downtown area that switched to solar and in their apartment buildings, and it's been successful from what I've heard.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it can work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. You got anything else? You have a question?
Go right ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, let's switch a little. Let's talk about just the Democratic Party in general. And I always ask this question to people, and Honor and I have this conversation about the Democratic messaging. Republicans always seem like they are lock and step with one another. Like, they just agree. Well, they don't agree with everything, but they make you think that they do.
Yeah.
But we always seem to not agree, or we're not on the same page, or we believe in the same things, but our messaging is always off. What do you think the Democrats can do to have a more of a cohesive message?
I think what the Republicans do, they do relational messaging. And I think what Democrats need to do that a little bit more, is to find the common, something you have a common with that person. And say, oh, I understand how you feel. I'm like that too. And then you can be able to, I apologize. I do have a 3-year-old son.
That is fine.
Who he needs attention. We will wrap it up.
Can you go, honey?
I need grapes.
Oh, you can go get grapes over there.
I love it.
Okay. But that's the thing about being a mom.
Working moms, working moms, right?
I actually have a daughter that I'm hoping will not walk through the door at any minute. She's always loud when she does, and she doesn't know I'm on right now. So
honestly,
completely understand.
I'm surprised we're 22 minutes in, and this is the first time this happened, because usually it happens about 5 or 10 minutes in. So the fact that he went this long, that's for records.
Yeah, so messaging is not, but you want to switch to the lightning round so that we can, what do you think, Honor? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because he needs grapes.
Yeah, he needs, right, exactly. He needs his grapes, and I do not blame him.
They're right there, and he just walked in, he just grabbed them. So he knows how to grab them. It's just, he wanted mommy to grab them.
Oh, you know what? He gave us an insight into the type of mom that you are, because he said grapes. He could have said, Mom, I want some Oreo cookies. So there you go.
Good. You know what? That's right. You're right. Mom, where's that cake? All right. So we're going to switch to the lightning round, where it's never fast, but we'll try to get you out of here. Quick questions. Texting or talking?
Talking.
Last song you listened to?
Oh, I'm a huge Blink 182 fan, so it was Blink 182. It's called 6/8. 6/8.
Is that a new one?
That was it's been a couple of years old, but it's in not the last album, but the album before that.
Okay. Can vegetarians eat animal crackers?
I mean, if they want to.
Favorite junk food besides grapes?
Zebra cakes.
Oh, wow. Remember those? Well, those are like with Little Debbie's. Oh, man. Wow. Favorite childhood TV show?
Punky Brewster.
I used to like Punky Brewster.
Me
or
too.
Jem.
Jim? What is Jim? Wait, which?
She was the the businesswoman / rock star. This is from the 80s. Yeah.
She predated Miley Cyrus, probably. On Hannah Montana, who was normal by day and country singer by.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you travel to?
Oh, probably the 40s.
And why?
Why? I think I kind of like the vibe of the music and the post-war. I wanted the post-war
Right.
40s,
Right.
where everybody's just kind of like free flowing and just and people actually made was able to work a full-time job and actually pay for their bills.
Yeah. You got a point there.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. If you could erect any statue in your district, what would it be and why?
Any statue?
Any statue.
Oh, I would say I really love my Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So I probably
Good
would
answer.
put somewhere of her. Yeah, I really adored her.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Mhm.
That's the first.
Yeah.
That's very smart.
Well, there's so many male statues around. We need some strong female leader statues out here,
I
monuments to them.
Totally agree. They absolutely should have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg statue.
In several states.
Yeah, they really should. We need to start putting a petition out for that.
Yeah, let's crowdfund this.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Marsha. I love that idea. So Marsha, before we let you go, can you just tell the people where they can find you on social media? Or are you set up for donations and all of that yet? I know you just got your name on the. Okay, so you want to tell everyone all of that information, and we'll put the information in the description for you.
You can go to my website to marshawilliamsforcongress.com, and you can find me on Facebook and on Twitter at congressmarshail. And also I'm going to be setting up a TikTok account soon because my interns tell me I should do that. So I'm probably going to have a TikTok account, which will probably be Congress Marsha as well to keep things,
I'm thinking you should have a co-star.
Right.
Steal the show.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Marsha, for stopping by. I hope you come back. We're gonna have you back. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to come back anytime.
Yeah. When are primaries?
When are your primaries?
June 28th.
Okay. We will be watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marsha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Oh, is she gone? Hey, we're still on. We have 28 more minutes. We have like 30 minutes. You want to talk you want to talk about some news or something? Something was going on.
Sure. What you got?
Let's do. So what happened this week? Brittany Griner is being detained until May 19th.
I heard that. But wait, okay. She's being detained, but did you see the shot of her walking into the courtroom?
I did not see that.
Okay, so she looked fine. I mean, I didn't see a front view of her, but yeah, she looked well. She had on like a flannel shirt, like she was in her regular clothes, and
good.
She looked like she was being cared for and not tortured.
Well, I'm glad she's not tortured. I know she did complain about her bed was too small for her 6'7" body. But that's a long time. But so I was a little confused by it. And I'm sorry, everyone. We're just like impromptu news right now. So we don't have a lot of information. So is she actually going to be able to leave on May 19th? Like, what does that?
They're detaining her until then. I don't know if that means if she goes to court during that time. I'm just not really sure. And guess what? I don't think the news story gave out much information other than the fact that she was detained for an additional amount of time. I did see her briefly going into the courtroom, and that was about it. I don't think they had much of anything as far as what it meant, or like
Right.
if there was going to be another court date.
Right.
I'm not even sure they knew there was a court date before.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
it's not like it was reported on that she was going to be going to court. So
Right. Right. And they're just probably trying to show proof of life and that she's okay too. So that's why we even got that video.
mm-hmm.
Man, and Russians. You know what else happened? So I don't know if you heard this story. I think I know. I just read it today. So a Louisiana high school teenager is charged with a hate crime. Did you hear that?
I think I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Girl, for throwing cotton
Mm-hmm.
at his classmate and
then whipping him with a belt.
with his belt.
Yeah.
What girl, what is this?
You know,
It's like, what is, you don't want to laugh about this, but
it's not funny. I don't know. I don't see anybody getting away with that here. Like, I don't
right? Like, how did
I don't
well,
understand the audacity to attempt something like that, because just like in certain spaces, you're going to get your ass whipped. Like, that's just a no-go. I don't.
After the cotton, after you threw the cotton, how'd you get a chance to whip me with a belt? Like, because the first cotton ball would have been a problem. Like, what you
Don't
mean?
throw cotton at me. Don't do that. And then what was you saying when you was throwing the cotton? What were you calling me?
You know. Girl.
Let me tell you something. The school district and everyone acted very swiftly. And the parents I did read were pleased with how quickly they reacted. That boy has been charged. But let me tell you, his mug would have been mugged up because just reflex.
Right. Like, where'd you get that from? Like, this is the problem with them not wanting to talk about, and I'm not saying that learning about diversity and all that stuff would have made this kid not do it, but it may make some kids not do it, right? Like, if you're teaching them empathy or diversity or just an understanding of the stuff. Oh, you think he got racist parents?
Than that. No. How about teaching Black history? And that slavery was bad. And it's nothing to be reenacted in a classroom for Black History Month.
Right.
You do not throw cotton at Black people and try to whip them like you're the overseer. How about teaching history as it's supposed to be taught so that people know how horrific it is and you know not to do it?
Well, and then, you know what's funny? How do they know not to do it if there are teachers having a whole slave auction and having other white students like buy other students as slaves? So what do we expect from the kids if the teachers are out here doing this? Like, this
there's
is
social
ridiculous.
Media. There's so much access to information. I expect better from kids. That's exactly what I expect.
But we don't even get it from the adults. We can say that to the people who watch Fox, right? Do better. Like, the social media. Why are you listening to this? Because like that is their only source that they're getting it. They won't go past it.
What I'm saying is, as far as kids are concerned, they are the ones on social media. They are the ones on TikTok. They're the ones on Instagram. It's not like I would hope that there are not many places in the US where, you know, white person has never seen a Black person before and all that stuff. Come on.
Well, I didn't say they ain't never seen him because obviously he going to school with them. That's
like,
pretty
what movie
obvious.
did you go watch?
But
that you thought you need to be doing that.
Maybe he watched Roots and he got something else from it. I don't even understand what's going on. What else happened this week? Let's see. I know a bunch of things. I was just writing them. Well, we could switch the news a little. Kanye got suspended from Instagram.
As he should have.
Like, what?
I have to agree with DL Hewley, and he really went in on Kanye. Kanye needs help. And what he is doing to his ex-wife is not cool. I don't care who she is. She could have been, I don't care who she is. The stalking, the harassment. Like, it's just not cool. Like that, if she was just a regular old Black woman, hopefully people would be rallying to her cause. And it's domestic violence. It's just not cool. It's just not cool. I have real issues with that.
I'm surprised he's just suspended. Oh,
he was only suspended for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, he on there, threatening to beat up people, and
this is not going to end good. It is going to end, but it's just not going to end well unless he, someone gets him some help, or he tries to help himself.
Grab hold of him,
because
he is not doing well. And and here's the thing. The most dangerous time in a woman's life is post-separation, post-breakup. And unfortunately, I mean, Kim Kardashian happens to be white, but, we have an issue with domestic violence in the Black community and women being assaulted and murdered by their domestic partners. I just don't think something like that should be dismissed lightly.
That's in all of the communities.
Well, yeah, true. But yeah.
No, but I get it. It is a dangerous time right after, especially if you didn't want it to end. So if you didn't want that breakup to end, and you on the outside looking at somebody move on, it does become kind of, and that's what it looks like.
He's moved on.
Well, did he really? He did, but
I can't talk about Kanye anymore. I just really can't. I can't. He's a disturbed young man.
Let's go to Jesse.
Let's go to
Jesse. Let's go to Jesse Smollett. He got released today.
Yeah, I don't know what to make about Jesse.
On a pause. Okay, so let's just talk about his sentence. Let's talk about that, not necessarily what he did, because so I think that he should have gotten something. I think that it was too strict. I just think it was, and strict in comparison to what white people get in general. Like, you got white people doing all kinds of things that never serve any time, and they gave him, like, what was that, 150? Was it 3 months or 5 months? I think they gave him 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think probation would have sufficed, man. 30 days. And just keep it moving. 5 months just seemed like a long time when I'm seeing people commit all kinds of other crimes and don't go to jail. I don't know.
You know what? Had the case not been handled the way it was from the beginning, he may have gotten probation. But because there were attempts to not charge him and this, that, and the third, then I don't want to say it because judges aren't forced to do anything, but
they wanted to teach a lesson or do some.
I mean, teach a lesson, but it couldn't be like, well, we weren't going to charge him, but then we charged him and now we're going to charge him and we're just going to let him go with a slap on the wrist. Like, they had to make some sort of example.
This is the problem I really had with this whole story. And it was Taraji B. Henson comparing this to Emmett Till. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? He is not Emmett Till.
No, he's not, because he lied. He did lie.
He lied. So why are we out here talking about their... No, he did lie. He committed a crime.
Guess what I'm getting ready to do? I'm sorry, Black men. I do love y'all, but he needs some help. Why did he lie to begin with? What was going on? He was on a hit show. He could sing. For what? For what purpose did he decide to do that at all? I just don't even understand it.
Yeah, but we're not going to understand why people do the craziest things. And that was really crazy. Like, did he want attention? What was his? Oh, he said he didn't do it. God, I don't know.
No, he really was mugged by 2 MAGA people. That's his contention.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, but they're not really MAGA. I'm like, wait a minute.
They were Black. The people he hired were Black.
Well, they some Black MAGAs.
Yeah, no. Jesse, I hope he's young. And yeah, do something to, somebody will hire you, I guess.
No, he will. He'll just pull it together. I hope so. I hope he pulls it together, and I hope he does some things in the community to help somebody. And that's really what I think they should have done, given this man some type of community service and make him go into the community and help whomever needs it. I don't know, Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if I would want Jesse to mentor my children, but
Michelle said they are toying with Jesse because he toyed with them. He needs to take a seat.
you need to take 2 seats because that is just a mess. Ugh.
I mean, let it go. Just
Let it go.
But speaking of, since you brought up Jesse, a juicy,
Or Jesse.
I won't even repeat that because Dave Chappelle is not our favorite right now. Although I ain't never had no problem.
Well, he's not their favorite. He's still my favorite.
Juicy Smollett. But anyway,
No shade.
Speaking of him, I also read a story today about Chris Cuomo. Chris is suing CNN for $125 million for something along the lines of wrongful termination. But here's why. There's a plot twist. Because, and his lawyers cited this in the filing because Jeffrey Tobin, no. First, he threw his brother, because I used to watch The Pass Off from Chris to Don, and it was like, I love you, my brother. First, he said his brother Don Lemon called Jesse to let him know that they were going to be opening a police investigation into him. They weren't really believing his story, and they weren't going to drop it. And he didn't get in trouble for that. So he just spilled it.
I'm like, wait, did he just tell on himself?
No, he just told on Don. Right. Like Don texted Jesse and told him that the police wasn't really buying his story. So that was the first reason.
So if Don did it, why am I in trouble? As well? Is that what he's saying? He's like, well, Don did that, so why am I in trouble for this?
Oh, that's only example number one. Example number two was
he out here
Jeffrey Tobin, as you know, as they said in the article, decided to enjoy himself on camera. And you don't remember this? Stop playing.
What is happening?
During the pandemic, during a Zoom meeting.
Oh, right. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, and they let him come back. And most recently, Jeffrey Zucker, the president of CNN, it was found out that he was having an affair with one of the senior executives. So he stepped down and she resigned too. So that was example number 3. All these people around here is doing all these shenanigans and y'all letting them stay, but y'all let me go.
Chris spilling all
because
I
decided because I decided to help my brother with his little problem. Everybody else helping everybody else, and it's okay. He went in. He went in. God. It is so weird you brought up Jesse, because yes, I was like,
he told everybody looking at him like, oh my God, you rat. Like, what in the world? Oh, wow. Come on, Chris. Like, you're never supposed to tell and rat people out. He like, I don't care. I want my job. I want this money.
Blew up everybody.
He's trying to get the bag.
Nothing happened to them. As much of that 125 million as he can, bet you there'll be a settlement.
And he's friends with Don, and he blew Don's spot.
I told you every night he would be like, I love you, brother. And then Don would take over. No joke.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Wow. If you're just tuning in, we did have Marsha Williams on, and the first half of the show, it ended a little early. So we just have some time now to, we're just talking about trending news topics.
Yep.
We didn't talk about Ukraine. What happened this week in Ukraine?
The president of Ukraine gave a speech to Congress that was
He
very
sure
well
did.
received.
Mhm.
The Ukrainians are holding their own.
Mhm.
Russia is not having a good time at all.
Yeah.
They are taking casualties. I think I read somewhere where they said Russia may have sustained as many as 7,000 casualties.
Mhm.
Some of them are teenagers, presumably didn't even know they were going to war.
Mhm.
And Russia is not claiming any of them.
Yeah. Why would they? Like, what are you talking about? Mhm. Yeah.
And Putin had another little unhinged speech today. I read about that, where he threatened the oligarchs. I told you. He smells blood. He senses dissension in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because they're being squeezed now. Like they're next and their family's next. But, Putin.
He said, "You're traitors. You've become too spoiled with the ways of the West with your condos in Miami." He said that. Like, yeah. Oh, he really was talking to the oligarchs. Like, if you leave, we will consider you a traitor. Okay.
And he's not joking. And I guess that's probably always the scary part with the oligarchs, because you really have to put your family in hiding with this man, because that's what
they have enough money to do that.
Yeah, they have to put their family in hiding because he will get the family.
Put their family in hiding and take him out with the poison.
Well, we would hope.
I mean, you know what? When you're an oligarch, you probably know a lot of people.
You should, and you should be able to pay them more than Putin pays them. Like, this is kind of, that's always been interesting to me, that there are some people in Putin's military who are gung-ho for Putin and what he's doing. I mean, there's even reports today that, not only are they making human shields out of those women and children in that hospital, but they're raping women. Like, that's the newest report, and that happens in war. But, if you're out here raping women, that means that you are part of Putin's army. You're not one of those people who didn't know why you're here. And, you're just as ruthless and ghoulish as he is.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
but
a tough one.
Armenia is holding its own for right now.
Ukraine. You called it Armenia.
Armenia.
That's hilarious.
Ukraine. It is,
like,
right?
Where did you get that one from?
I don't know. I have a daughter coming in, just like I said I would.
That's hilarious. But everyone, we're gonna wrap up now. Thank you guys for coming out. We do have another guest next week. This one is, Marsha was important too, but we're excited about Joe Jaworski.
Joe Jaworski, running for Texas Attorney General. We are really excited to have him.
Right.
And we were excited to have Marsha too. Please do not feel like we are excited about our guests. But this will actually be our first Attorney General that we get to interview. So we're excited.
Right. And we know how important Attorney Generals are. And this one is in Texas. So he's very important. So everyone, thank you. I know you missed the game. The game this week. Just our lovely faces. Happy St. Patty's Day to you all. And we'll see you next Thursday at this new time, 8 p.m.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks.